Alright, here's the latest project we're working on at Backwoods. Customer brought this one over. It's going to be a square body sitting on a, I believe it's going to be a Gen 2 Dodge Cummins chassis and engine. They've got the motor running, and now they're just looking to get a little bit of rust repair done. Got some floorboards, rockers, inner footwell. This should be a pretty quick and easy task. We'll see how much rust we chase along the way. Y'all stay tuned and we'll show you more on down the road. Alright, so the customer supplied a few pieces to go with this project. To replace part of the rocker, they had cut this piece off of another truck. It's not going to quite fit right, and it's a little short. By the time we put labor and money into this, it's just about going to be easier to fab up a new piece from scratch. This is a piece of the inner footwell. May use a portion of that just because it'll save some time. We'll get the old spot welds out and kind of see what it looks like. And he got this one. It's part of the inner rocker. It goes down up in here. Now, at depth, we'll even use this. No more than what it got into. We'll just fab that up, keep moving. Here we're getting all the edges deburred and back to bare metal as far back as we think any welds may go, so we got some smooth surfaces to work with and we don't get any contamination from either paint or rust. The closer you can get it to bare metal, the less chance you'll have of your weld volcanoing up or start chasing fish eyes, and it kind of keeps that contamination out. It'll ensure for a better weld, and it'll make it a lot easier when you go to dress it out. This is a spot weld cutting set. These things save a lot of time and effort. Whereas before, you'd either have to grind out spot welds or drill them all the way out, leaving a big gaping hole on the metal you wanted to leave there. Now, using this spot weld cutting set, you can just cut the metal around the spot weld on the material that's going to be removed and leave the other piece there. They set it up to where you can use a nail punch to find a center mark for the arbor on the spot weld. What I'll typically do is drill all the way through with an 1/8 inch drill bit, and you'll end up filling it with weld anyway when you weld the new piece on, and it just makes it easier to remove. Another little trick is you can take a roll lock or a grinder or flat disc and kind of scuff the paint where you know the spot welds are, and the paint will typically stay where there's the spot welds, and kind of identifying them, because there's nothing worse than thinking you have them all out and then once you start kind of popping out with your cold chisel, finding a few more in there. I really do think on this project General Motors paid their line workers per spot weld, because there was tons of them in it. Here's a couple more things you'll see me using quite often. There's Clecos, which have the drill through type and the clamp type, and some just cheap sheet metal fasteners from Harbor Freight that kind of line up any flat pieces of sheet metal together. There's a couple of different trains of thought as far as using the Clecos. Some people like to use self-tap sheet metal screws like pinheads, what have you. I like using the Clecos because you can take it in and out multiple times and you don't have to keep up with the screws, and the Clecos are reusable. They're very handy and they save tons of time, and it makes testing and fitment a breeze. Okay, so now we're starting to test fit with our cardboard pattern, kind of getting it in there, getting all of our markings where we're going to put the bead rolls, get a rough cut idea on it, recording any break marks and what degree they're going to be at. In the past, I've used pizza boxes, poster board, just whatever I could get my hands on. I learned this little tip from the Fab Forums podcast about using ram board. You can pick it up at the local Home Depot. It's about $50 for a big old spool of it. I'm on third or fourth project using it, and I still got about half the spool left. You can bend it in the brake, you can cut it, trim it, but the only thing you can't do is weld on it. You can even place it where it goes with your sheet metal clamps or your Clecos. It's really handy, and I strongly consider you trying to use it next time you're doing a project. Next part is transferring the paper cardboard template over to our sheet metal. We'll rough cut it using the DeWalt cordless shear. This thing's pretty handy. I usually make it about a 1/4 inch bigger than whatever it is I'm looking at. Get it cut out and then DA it. Just get a nice finish on it that really takes Sharpie marks pretty well. Then start trimming it out with the throatless shear. These throatless shears are pretty handy. I've used Beverly brand shears in the past. This one's an off-brand. It still works pretty good. We'll see how well it lasts in the long term. But one of the benefits of using a throatless shear is you can cut at angles and curves and compound curves, all kinds of stuff, to where a stomp shear or anything like that, you can pretty much only cut a straight line. You can also get pretty creative using a Metabo blade, but I just really don't like to get any more of that Metabo dust and stuff in the shop than we have to. Okay, with the pattern transferred out and kind of cut to size, cut a little big just so we can do some trimming if we have to. Now it's time to take it over to the Midler 36-inch bead roller. I am loving this bead roller. Between the bead roll dies that Midler offers and the ones that Jamie Jordan offer, there's just about something for every application in there. This is kind of a strange set of beads that we're going to be putting in this. So what it is, I step rolled them with the deepest step roller I had, then went over to the beater bag and got mallet and sandbag and kind of worked it out deeper. Then took it over, especially on the bigger one, and ran it through the English wheel to kind of smooth it out, get a little bit of a dome in it, and also to kind of straighten out the panel. Okay, now that everything's been test fitted, it lines up good. We got it clamped in with either Clecos or the sheet metal clamps. Now we're going to slowly start tacking it in place, make sure we're moving around quite a bit, trying to keep from getting too much heat in any one area. Once we start getting close, we'll throw a work light underneath it to kind of help identify any spot welds. We'll start dressing it out, and as we continue to see any more pinholes, we'll fill them in and go from there. We did end up using the piece that was provided by the customer to fill in some of the door jamb. We still had to cut up a little piece and kind of twist it in there to get it fit, and it ended up working out pretty good. Notice the spot in the cab corner that was rusted through. So we went ahead, cut it out, formed up another little piece, got it matching up pretty good, fit it in there, welded it up, and dressed it out too while we're at it. You always want to try to leave about a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch gap in between any two pieces of sheet metal you weld up. That way, as you start putting heat on it, it doesn't buckle. Even if you move around quite a bit, it'll still try to buckle on, end up looking like the ocean. Leave a little gap in there and you'll be fine. Alright folks, this one is officially in the books. So on this project, we fabbed up and replaced part of the floorboard, matching all the original beads and supports that are in there. The customer provided kick plate right there, which we got in. This piece was rusted up and hacked out. Got it swapped out. Got that inner piece right there swapped out. And found a spot on the cab corner that we went ahead and cut out and replaced. So this project's going to be going to paint and body, and then whenever the customer gets it back on the road, I'll make sure to send y'all a video of that so you can take a look at it. Again, this is your old buddy Hank Pickering with Backwoods Custom Works. Y'all be good to each other, and we'll see you on down the road.